Rocky Marciano, an Italian-American of the first generation, continues to leave a legacy in the sport of boxing that is defied by his rigorous training regimen and great dedication. In his illustrious boxing career, Marciano had a record of 49-0 with 43 knockouts and a knockout rate of 88% among his heavyweight opponents. Marciano overcame the odds against him to become one of the most recognized and best heavyweight boxers of all time. He was an undersized fighter who had poor footwork. Therefore, he accomplished the unfathomable by winning despite these disadvantages. Thus, keep watching this video to see Rocky Marciano's training regimen. Marciano's boxing success may be attributed to his rigorous training regimen, as well as his dogged drive. Every day, he ran anywhere from 5 to 6 miles with his personal trainer and closest friend, ALIE Colombo, who cheered Marciano on the whole way and motivated him the entire time. First, Marciano raced as fast as he could up the hill, and then he went down it in reverse. He was a proponent of cross-training, and often spent an hour and a half punching shadows in the deep end of the swimming pool with water reaching up to his shoulders. The work ethic that Marciano maintained was nothing short of astonishing in its level of consistency and discipline. He really looked forward to his tough exercises every day. Marciano worked relentlessly in the gym to develop his boxing talents, which included hundreds of hours of sparring, continual pounding on the heavy and speed bags, thousands of push-ups and sit-ups, and innumerable medicine ball thumps to the belly. All of these activities were very helpful to Marciano's preparation for victory in the ring. In addition, Marciano was required to exercise in a distant section of the CATSKILLS in GROSSINGER, New York. This was a demand that was forced by Marciano by his trainer, CHARLEY GOLDMAN, and his handlers. This necessity was designed to relocate them from task-directed contingencies into virtual isolation. In this isolated location, Marciano displayed a level of concentration and commitment to the duties at hand that was quite remarkable. While he was in camp, he was mostly entirely separated from his wife and daughter, because he was only permitted to make nightly telephone calls and send occasional letters. In his book, Rocky Marciano, The Rock of His Times, written by Russell Sullivan, Sullivan eloquently describes how Marciano would dive into preparation for a bout with enthusiasm and passion. When he wasn't putting in a lot of work at the gym, Marciano made sure to maintain a healthy diet and go to bed at the same time every night, which was 9:30. Colombo kept a close eye on what he ate and how much he ate. Marciano absolutely avoided the nightlife and made a point to abstain from engaging in any kind of sexual engagement. On one particular night, though, Marciano's managers did put his rock-solid determination to engage in sexual behavior to the test. The following statement was confirmed by a number of sports writers. Some of the people around Marciano sent Hollywood blonde bombshell James Mansfield into a room where Marciano was alone. It was not hard to deduce what she needed to accomplish with her assignment. Despite this, Mansfield was unsuccessful, and after some time had passed, she emerged from the room and said, "Is he crazy? He didn't want anything to do with me." Some of Marciano's detractors have wondered how the legendary boxer would have fared against today's supersized heavyweights. After all, he had the smallest reach in the history of heavyweight boxing at only 67 inches, and he only stood 5 feet and 10.5 inches tall. He also never weighed more than 192 pounds, and most of his fights were fought at 186 or 187 pounds. Peter Marciano, Rocky's younger brother, vehemently contradicts this claim by stating that Rocky fought a number of guys who were 30 to 40 pounds heavier than he was, and those were the fights that he found the easiest. On the other hand, Rocky had a harder problem beating opponents who were a little smaller, a bit faster, and who delivered punches and combos than he did. However, his ability to be virtually superhuman was his greatest strength. Rocky always had an advantage over his opponents when it came to their size, since it was much simpler for him to wear them out and then finish them off. Peter Marciano said that Rocky had a life similar to that of a monk. He never failed to look amazing despite his age. Because he put so much effort into his training, he was able to consistently land more punches than his opponent. In other words, Marciano was unquestionably one of the most physically fit professional athletes who has ever lived, as shown by the facts. And his workout regimen continues to be what defines his status as a boxer who has never been defeated. During the 1970s, a sports journalist by the name of DALEY would remark that no champion possessed such physical handicaps as Rocky Marciano. As mentioned, Rocky had a tiny stature for a heavyweight fighter. In addition, Marciano's arms were only 67 inches long, making them comparable to those of a penguin. Because it dictates how far away you can punch, reach is a significant factor in boxing, and a boxer with long arms can easily smash other competitors. But a boxer with short arms must get in close to score strikes, which leaves them susceptible to defense punches. However, Rocky's diminutive stature wouldn't have been such a disadvantage if he had been swift or well-balanced. In accordance with the concept that he should transform his trainees' areas of weakness into sources of strength, Goldman set out to correct Marciano. He instructed Marciano to adopt a fighting position known as bobbing and weaving, which was effectively a crouch. When combined with Marciano's little stature, a low crouch made it difficult for his opponent to strike him. Additionally, it may also function as a launching point for Marciano to throw looping shots, thereby allowing him to use his crouching stance as a springboard for bone-crushing attacking strength. In time, Marciano developed an instinctual ability to time the blows of his opponents, which paradoxically allowed the tremendous aggressive boxer to become incredibly difficult to hit. Goldman came to the conclusion that the best way to combat Marciano's short arms was to make him swarm his opponent and take advantage of his own short arms by delivering shorter blows. When an item is thrown for a greater distance, it meets with more resistance. As a result, the force that it exerts on a target is reduced. When it comes to punches, the same idea holds true. A short, rapid punch packs more of a punching punch than a protracted swing does. Therefore, Rocky's strategy consisted of getting in close to his opponents, throwing quick punches while virtually wrestling them in the clinches, and hoping to win. Anyone who has ever grappled with a smaller and shorter figure understands how challenging the situation can be. He was known for his short penguin arms, which he would use to pry open the guard of his opponent before pinning them to the mat. So, Marciano was unbeatable when it came to battling it out with other fighters in the ring, as he always emerged victorious. Goldman made Rocky Marciano a powerful fighter. Goldman instructed Rocky to adopt a posture that was diametrically opposed to the conventional one by shuffling his rear foot first, then his front foot. Given the Italian's limited reach, this meant that Rocky could traverse more land in his pursuit of his mission, which was an essential goal given the nature of the situation. Goldman would make the following remark while laughing: "Rocky's victims all look better than he does as far as moves are concerned, but they don't look so good laying on the canvas." Those adversaries who believed they could avoid Rocky by just avoiding him had a rude awakening in store for them. Rocky had two devastating blows at his disposal, an overhand right and a left hook, and both were capable of traveling great distances. In boxing, an overhand right is when you throw your punch over your shoulder, similar to how you would throw a baseball. Rocky would thrust himself forward by throwing a punch, placing his full body weight into the blow, and it enabled him to launch missiles at his opponents from a great distance. Rocky had a formidable left hand as well, despite the fact that he was mostly a right-handed boxer. He threw his left hook by propelling himself forward with his rear leg, which enabled a guy with such a limited reach to make contact with flesh despite the leather gloves he was wearing. The transformation of Marciano from a sloppy and aggressive fighter into a powerful fighting machine was Charley Goldman's finest achievement. He discovered Marciano to have a strong will and powerful arms, and he left in that way. But he added to Marciano's arsenal exceptional defense, superb footwork, and the ability to narrow the space between them. Please let us know in the comment section below if you can think of any modern fighter that might compete on the same level as Rocky Marciano. And that wraps things up. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.